All right, the Big Ten and the Pac-12 have postponed their college football seasons. They intend to play in the spring. You've got some high-end prospects led by Ohio State quarterback Justin Fields. Chris, this throws a little bit of a wrench
it really does.
into the planning for the college football player. And look, I feel bad for the player who has spent the last 3 months or however long it is. You know, one thing we don't talk much about, the college football conditioning process, right?
Brutal.
We hear about all the restrictions on how long you can have the players there during the season. They beat the hell out of those guys. I've heard stories about what they do at West Virginia, and it's hardly an exception. They bring those guys in, and they put them through basically Army basic training for months before they even get onto the field.
Right.
And these guys are ready to go, and now they pull the plug, and they got to figure out whether and to what extent they're going to hang around for the spring.
It's crazy. I mean, you are right. It's intense. You know, college football, they beat you into the ground. And you know, of course, they do that partly because they want you to be worn out. So you might not go out, outside the football facility and have a crazy night or act a fool either. But, these guys have absolutely put in some big-time hard work. And, yes, we know that this is a year where guys like Justin Fields, other guys that we might not know about, have done things and feel like they're about to make a big jump here onto the national scene, and that's not going to happen, especially with the Pac-12 and the Big Ten. And, the big question there is, what do you do if it becomes no football and you're playing spring season? If you're a guy like Justin Fields, what do you do? Because, again, the easy thing to say right off the bat is, man, don't play spring football. Just get ready and get ready for the draft. They're already viewing you as like a really high draft pick. Yeah, that's good. But also at the same time, Justin Fields has only played 1 year of college football. And not to say he can't still have a great NFL career, but the way you get better at playing football is to, wait for it, play football. And that is a hard one there. It really is. But I think, Mike, I do lie in the camp of, if you're looked at as one of those guys, first round, second round type guy, and you're in the Big Ten or Pac-12 and they're going to play spring football, I would say for those guys, I err right now, and I got to flush this out in my brain a little more, or flesh it out. Sorry,
or both,
right? But
we'll have to call Aunt Wendy during
the break. We'll get Aunt Wendy to clarify
whether or not flush works there.
That's right.
Hi, Aunt Wendy.
We'll get her to clarify, but I would tend not to play if I were that kind of guy. If I was a high-ranking, first, second-round pick going into the year, I would just protect my interests, start working out. Hopefully you can start making yourself available to teams to do workouts and things like that, and show what you got from there, and just go back to the old saying like you always said, Mike, hey, look, there's plenty of film on me from the last 2 years. There you see me, get over it. Look at me in some workouts and evaluate from there. And I would tend to do that if I was certainly, one of those high-end prospects.
Yeah, I mean, it is a challenge, and it's unfortunate if you are one of these guys who would have, if he played college football this fall, ascended the way Joe Burrow did last year.
Yeah.
Joe Burrow acknowledged that earlier this week, but for the 2019 college football season, he may not have even been drafted. He said, I'd be looking for a job right now. And what that guy could do this year and how it could change things for him, it's sad. It's not going to happen. And then the question becomes, and I think the NFL, now that the Big Ten and the Pac-12 have bumped to the spring, I think it's incumbent on the NFL to make it known ASAP for the benefit of the kids so they can make a responsible decision.
Right.
Are you moving the draft or are you not moving the draft? Because if the NFL decides to be coy about it, you'll just have the kids just hang around. Well, hey, maybe, because the coaches will be saying, hey, I think they're going to move the draft. So it's in your best interests and mine for you to stick around and play and help us win games and me and not leave to get ready for the draft in April because it's not going to happen in April. Trust me on that.
Yeah,
and
right.
if the NFL just doesn't make an announcement, you can pull that one off. So I hope the NFL fairly quickly will make it known what it plans to do now that 2 of the 5 major conferences aren't going to play this fall. And And it may be the NFL just waits to see whether they even play in the spring. Because that's the thing, Chris.
Yeah.
Waiting until the spring isn't some silver bullet here that's going to solve their problem. They're just kicking the can 4 months farther down the line. And again, this is not rooting for the outcome. This is applying foresight to the facts as we currently know them. Do you feel confident they're going to be able to play in the spring based on what's currently going on, Chris?
No, I don't necessarily. I don't. Not for college football. I still don't feel that confident about it. It's different. Of course, it's amateur. Yeah. NFL players are taking a risk. They're also collecting some big checks there. And the NFL's got a lot of money, and they got 32 teams under that umbrella, and they're doing it as well as they can. I don't know if I feel that same way about college football. Plus, I look at it and go, so what are we going to do? I mean, what's going to happen here? Justin Fields is going to play spring football, play 14 games, get a month or two off, and then be the starting quarterback for some team and play another 16 games? He's going to play 30 games in a calendar year? That's insane. You want to talk about player safety? And then the other aspect, Mike, I'll just hit on real quick is, these teams too, the NFL, if season goes as planned right now, bumping the draft back, that's really going to affect how you prepare your football team and free agency. You wouldn't know what your team's going to be even until you start going to training camp, because I would think that draft, would have to end, end of May or early June or something like that now if they were to bump it back. So it really causes some issues for the team building aspect of an NFL football team and the balancing of the salary cap and all those things. So there is certainly some unintended consequences there that got to be, talked about a little bit.
There's a point you made that I think we cannot overstate. Whether you're an underclassman who would be back in 2021 or someone who is leaving for the NFL, you are looking at a calendar year, January through December, that consists of 2 football seasons.
Yeah.
And you're right, Chris. Let's say that 2019 had been played spring of 2020. Joe Burrow emerges. The draft happens in June. The Bengals make him the first overall pick. And they say, hey, Joe, you just played 15 college games.
Right.
Come on and play and start 16 games for us starting in September. The health and safety aspect, I think, is very real. The pressure will be significant on the colleges who welcome back guys who play in the spring, and on the pro teams who bring the guys in as rookies. And so then you're basically giving these guys a redshirt season. So, look, the sooner that these colleges know what they're going to do, the sooner the NFL can make a decision. Meanwhile, the NFL is spinning all these plates over trying to get their own 2020 season in. Yeah. I mean, this just complicates everything for everyone. We'll see what happens. We'll continue to monitor it every day here at PFT Live and also around the clock at ProFootballTalk.com.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.